Welcome to Real Talk Wrestling. I'm your host, Josh. With me, of course, Chris Calfer, the Ultimate Babyface, and for the first time in weeks, Miami Clutch P. What is up, guys?
What's going on?
Man, just an amazing week. I say it every week. An amazing week of wrestling. We see this crazy photo that Clutch is showing us right now. Crazy Madman CM Punk. Story of the year so far. Second best storyline of the year so far, in my opinion. Excited to get down the Summerslam preview we're about to get into. Chris said before the show he may not watch SummerSlam. He says, no, I'm not going to do it. Isn't that crazy, Clutch? Isn't that maddening to you?
It's pretty one of the big four. That's crazy.
Wait, now did Josh tell you why might not pay attention to it?
Okay, well, no.
Okay, well, because there's a potential. Well, it's going to be hopefully small by the time it gets by us, but another hurricane. It might not be a hurricane as it passes Tampa, though. That's why I said maybe. I don't know what's going to happen. So it's supposed to be here Sunday night.
I live 10 minutes from you.
Yeah.
I'll be watching SummerSlam unless our internet's down. We don't get hit hard by hurricanes. I know, knock on wood, but every year they say it's the most catastrophic, going to kill us, going to get your gas, hoard your water, go get all the toilet paper, go get all the cookies. And what happens is you go on Facebook Marketplace in 2 days and everyone's selling their gas and everyone's selling their water because nothing ever happens here. Knock on wood. I hope it stays that way. And I'm hoping, because I honestly didn't know about the storm till today.
Until 10 minutes ago when I told you about it.
Yep. Now I have on ABC News and I see the guy in the suspenders telling me about the storm. So cool.
Yep.
Hunker down, people, because it's coming. It's that season. But anyway, it is also SummerSlam season. And this is the first time in a long time from me, maybe Clutch is different, that SummerSlam feels important. I feel like SummerSlam has not felt important in almost 15 years. It's almost the secondary version. It's almost the Aldi version of WrestleMania. It's there. It's cool. It's fine, but nothing really happens important. Feels like the most important SummerSlam in a long, long time. Clutch, do you disagree?
I think there's been good SummerSlam since then, like in the 15 years, but yeah, I think this one is very interesting. I mean, there's no real gimmick match like that, special guest ref, but they're all one-on-one matches, which I think is really awesome. And there's nothing too extra. They don't throw in that token multi-man match just to have it. Mm-hmm. It means, I guess, to me, it means that everything has importance on that show.
Yes, every single match, which we will break down. But first, we're going to break down some AEW news because we had a photo leak yesterday with the Muppet and red face best in the world, Shane McMahon. I have some thoughts on this picture. Chris didn't know I had to send him the picture. Like, hey, did you see this? And Chris was, no, I asked you, who's Shane going to wrestle at Wembley? And you're like, what? What's happening? Showed you the picture. Chris, what was your first thoughts when you saw the picture of Tony Khan and Shane McMahon?
Yeah. I know which one you're talking about. I don't know, like, kind of weird to say, but like both surprised and not surprised at the same time. I had a feeling at some point that this may happen. I've heard it be brought up every once in a while. And I think it's just because Shane seems to always get that itch to get back into wrestling every once in a while. And I had a feeling, that he may not be welcome to come back into WWE this time because they're really focusing on putting on a really good program and the wrestlers and none of the goofy gimmick stuff as much anymore now that Vince is out. So I'm like, where would Shane fit in Triple H's WWE? He really wouldn't. But Tony loves bringing all his debuts and all his things. So not completely shocked. It's going to be interesting to see. Was that just to get some hype going, to get people watching the show? Is he going to have a backstage role? Is he going to have a match? That's going to be interesting to see what they do. And how long is he going to stick around? Hopefully not long, if at all.
I thought you'd be all in for it. Now, Clutch, when you saw this photo, I mean, you leaked is funny because that picture wouldn't get out if Tony Khan didn't want it out. You think Shane wanted it out?
I saw the look. If you look at the picture, look at the look on both of their faces. Shane did not want that picture out. And Tony Khan was goofy as a doofus that he is. Looking at me, oh, you got me. Jackass. Anyways, but yeah, I'll get to Tony in a second because the Shane McMahon thing is interesting because, and I think Chris hit it on the head. I don't think it's not that he's not welcome back, maybe, but they just don't have anything for him, considering they're actually using their own talent to put on wrestling matches. You don't even have the token McAfee match that you had a few times, WrestleMania, SummerSlams. You don't have that this year. So you're steering away from the outside guys and more into your own guys. But yeah, Shane is. I was a big fan of Shane until about, let's say, 2016 SmackDown Live. That was his last like good thing for me when he turned heel and then went best in the world, and all that kind of turned me off because everybody says he's like the best McMahon. I don't think so. I think it's Stephanie, but yeah, Shane. He seems like, and there was a story about the Royal Rumble, how he went into business for himself, booked himself in the Final Four, and yeah, to me, he seemed like, I don't know the guy, obviously none of us do, but he seems like pretty selfish in what he wants and putting himself in front of like actual talent. That's my personal opinions on Shane. And as for Tony Khan, it's the same thing over and over. He just wants to get noise, get the initial pop, and then is going to end up in a big nothing with just like everything he does. So it's, I guess, good for them. If he has a match, okay, but like, it's a big nothing for me, to be honest. One match I would be into. There's only one match just to see if he's like insane still, and I might even like watch it later. Is put him against Darby Allin and see some crazy shit happen. And that's the only thing I'd be like, okay, maybe. But yeah, my own personal feelings on Shane, I don't care about this.
I am shocked. I am so shocked in both of you. Now, before I get into my opinion on if I think Shane's a good fit in AEW, I want to talk about the photo. Because Shane is hovered over the desk, looks super annoyed. You can tell he's had enough. Either with Tony Khan's nonsense, because if you heard the stories from Jim Cornette, he did meet with Tony and he was wanting to hear about the company, what's going to happen, and what are you going to do? And halfway through the conversation, Jim Cornette realized this motherfucker's crazy. Like, this guy's a moron. This guy's a lunatic. And I wonder if Shane got into the meeting and like that was his face because Tony Khan's a moron and a lunatic and talking nonsense. Or did he look annoyed that, oh wait, Tony got one of his stooges in here to take a picture of us to act like it's not like what was it, Brandon Cutler? Was it like you know what I mean? Like, was it a real stooge? Like, was it Colt Cabana running in real quick taking a picture? Like, and I can see like Tony Khan sitting behind his desk, like talking to Shane, texting real quick. Break in and take a photo of us and run away. And then Tony Khan's like, is he here? Is he here? Oh, right. And then like, I imagine him do so. Like, I can imagine him. And like, okay. Send it to Dave Meltzer. All right, cool. All right. Sorry about that, Shane. Like, like I can see Tony doing that. Either way, I think this is good. I think this is good for the brand. I think this is good for AEW. I think if he does show up on TV and has an on-air personality, I think it would be a positive. You can't go anywhere else but up at this situation at this point in AEW. If you watch AEW Collision, they're performing in a esports arena with 400 people watching. Christian Cage was on the holding 3 of the trios titles on Collision with like legitimately 400 people. Bryan Danielson was putting out a promo on Dynamite last night, a very important promo talking about how this is his last match, yada, yada, yada. He wanted to win this. He came in here, it was a very big promo, and you heard echoes. You can hear the person in the second row. That's a problem. I watch Raw, and I see thousands and thousands. CM Punk comes out, and he's going to the left. He's going to the right, high-fiving people, signing title belts.
You saw his new thing for Punk?
What's his new thing?
is like, oh look, we have fans over here.
Yeah. He always goes to the hard cam side first. He's been doing
Yeah.
that. So getting known names. I talked about this with TNA and Bobby. He's like, Joe Hendry should win the TNA championship. No, he shouldn't. He's the most over, yeah. But to the casuals, Nick Nemeth is. That's Dolph Ziggler. Oh, I'm gonna watch that show now because I know Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler is their champion, so it's gonna draw more people to it. If Shane McMahon comes in, I'm not saying put the title on him, but if he's in a major storyline as Shane McMahon, and let's say he's feuding with the Elite, takes over his teammate, like for Tony Khan, like because Christopher Daniels got knocked out, whatever story you want to put him in, it's gonna feel important because it's Shane McMahon. I don't see the downside of this. I could only see positives, and that's just me. I don't know. Because like I said, I watched Dynamite, and I we all saw. Did we all see Collision where that guy in the mask pinned the dude but didn't really cover him, and the referee wouldn't count? Was that Collision or was that something else? Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Okay.
You lost me at did you see Collision?
Okay, yes, nobody saw Collision, but that's my point. That's my entire point. Nobody's watching these shows now. No one's going to the shows. Wembley went from 82,000 last year to barely over 42,000. I think they have sold right now. That's 50% of the people gone. That's 50% of the fan base saying, we saw it last year. We're good. We don't want to come back. That's bad, man. That's really bad. So if you can get someone like Shane to come in, I know you did it with Edge. You did it with Sasha Banks. You did it with Dean Ambrose. I'm using the WWE names for a reason. You did it with Keith Lee. You did it with Cesaro. You did it with Paige. Nothing's worked. You did it with CM Punk. That worked. You know why? Because CM Punk moves the needle. Shane can move the needle in a way where, wow, there's a McMahon. I got to go see what's going on over there. It might work out. It might not. I don't know. But I'm here for it. What else could go wrong?
Just the fact that it's another attempt that just falls apart. I think it'll be another flash in the pan if it happens. If he goes in some sort of a story, it'll bring. Now it's what do they do with that? Let me say this: they could turn it into something good, but the thing is, don't let it be a flash in the pan where he just comes in, people watch to see him, and then his program is over, in a month, and then everyone goes away. Use that as a spark to start building other really good storylines. So when people are like, oh, well, Shane McMahon's over there, let me check this place out. And then they start watching, they see some other familiar WWE faces, and they're like, oh man, this wrestling's really good. These stories are really good. So they would need to capitalize on it, have a plan, and use that as a catalyst to bring more viewers in and to retain them. But it can't just be like, hey, here's Shane, and we keep neglecting everything else, and then his time runs out, just like all those other people you named.
Well, you watch the show regularly. Where would you, right now, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because we have a big preview show for SummerSlam if you're watching, but where would you plug Shane right now into any storyline? How would you book it to make you happy?
Clutch already said it. As far as the person, figure out a storyline for him to go up against Darby. I think that would be the best person for him to go against because they're two people that like to push their bodies to the limit in their matches. So figure out a way for him to come in. I don't know. It just depends on how they would want to take that. Do you refer to him as a McMahon and keep pointing that out? And what if they brought him in as, hey, I'm Shane McMahon, and let me tell you all the reasons why you guys are inferior to a McMahon. Because, Darby's not going to be the heel there. Darby would have to be the baby face. So what if you brought in Shane like that as the ultimate heel, just kind of downing the company a little bit, but not too bad because, he still is going to be working for them. But you got to kind of walk that line a little bit and, oh, McMahon's were the best in the business and blah, 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 and tie that in. And, Darby's Mr. AEW. He's, always fighting on behalf of AEW. And maybe that's where you could work him in for something. But you got to have other good things going on at the same time.
I see a different scenario. I see pair him with MJF. Help him beat Will Ospreay at Wembley or something like that in that manner. Team up with a McMahon. So MJF can ride that wave of, yeah, I got duped into signing the contract, but I got my plug. He's going to help. We're going to get ourselves back over into the good place. The war of whatever, the bidding war of whatever year it is, his contract. I don't know. I think Shane needs to be a big player if he does come over. I think he needs to be a big player with big names, either with Will Ospreay, MJF, Keep him away from Jericho. Keep him away from the Bucks. Keep him away from the Elite. But put him with
Yep.
your main talent. Hell, maybe he can revive Wardlow. I don't know. It's impossible. I know it's impossible to revive Wardlow at this point. No
It's
one knows
too
where that
many
man is.
times. No, it's been too many times. So much missed potential there.
Yeah. Gosh. Anyway, speaking about missed potential, yes, missed potential. We had Bryan Danielson versus Swerve. Their showdowns. The only thing I saw, only thing I cared to see about on Dynamite, I did seek out to watch this. I watched the whole segment because I didn't get to watch Dynamite last night where they said Bryan Danielson is putting his career on the line against Swerve at Wembley at All In. His contract is officially expired as of today. That's what he said on Dynamite last night officially. Plus, did you see this promo?
I saw the final part where he said, "Oh, if I lose, it's over." I saw that bit. I didn't see the full entire promo, but yeah, I caught the last bit.
Okay, so basically, Bryan came out, talked about his journey in AEW. It was the best time of his life. He's had the best run of his career. He's had the most fun he's ever had in a wrestling ring. Yada yada yada. He came in for 2 reasons: to kick people's heads in and win AEW championship. He says he's kicked everyone's head in, but has not won the AEW championship. So that's why it's very important for him to go out on top, win this title from Swerve. Yada yada yada. Right? Same old babyface Bryan Danielson. And then the ultimate babyface, the guy who just won Blood and Guts for AEW last week, came out to confront Bryan and turn completely heel overnight. It's expected, I guess, but you were just one of the biggest baby faces on the planet. But for no reason, they changed him heel because he's facing Bryan and basically tells him, like, hey, you've never won gold here. You're inferior to me. I'm the best in the world. You can't hang with me, yada, 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 yada. And then that was pretty much the promo. And Bryan just offered up, this is my last match if I don't win. Chris, does this make you a little bit more excited for this match?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't think so. That stipulation, it's been done so many times that it doesn't get me any more excited for a match at this point. Career versus title, how many times have we seen it already?
1,000.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, a lot of times. But Clutch, you're an outsider. You don't watch as much. Are you excited? Like, did that? Okay, go ahead.
Let me just add one thing. Like, when he was talking about it, because I think if you're going to do a career versus title match, it's better when it's like you can't get the title match you want. The champion is denying you that opportunity. And you're just saying, here, what's in it for you? I'll never be in your way again if you can beat me this one time because I'll retire. That's the end for me. But like, he already had this match. So why, from a storyline, from a logic perspective, why put your career on the line? It doesn't make sense. And I think that's why, like, I didn't really care for that too much, that element of it.
And they don't even hate each other. They have no history.
Yeah.
You know, now Clutch, you're an outsider. Does this make you want to go watch this match because it might be potentially Bryan's last match, or are you now interested in this weird feud?
Not really. I'll see Bryan at the Hall of Fame. No, but yeah, I mean, the results for this match are 2, right? So either Swerve wins and it's over and that's it, or somehow Bryan wins, they continue it let him have a couple more matches or whatever, and Swerve's reign was a big nothing. To me, I don't like the reign so far as much as, granted, I've seen bits and pieces and not the entire thing, but the things I've seen, I was like, okay. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I wasn't interested in the match to begin with. Crazy to say for a Danielson match, but I just don't really watch AEW. So I was like, okay, it's just another good all-in match. But the added stakes doesn't do anything for me, basically.
Yeah. Same here. I didn't need the stakes. I didn't need that added in at the end. You know what got me fired up for the match? And I'm not really that fired up, but what got me interested was when Swerve said, you led Team AEW in Anarchy in the Arena match, and you got pinned. I led Team AEW in Blood and Guts, and I got us the win, which he didn't. It was Darby. But still, he did lead them to victory as the captain. And it kind of brought the stories together because what were we saying? In the arena match, Brian lost. What was the point of it? Nothing came out of it. And then they had a blood and guts match for no reason because the heels already won the last match. Now they're making it into somewhat of a story. It's like they're kind of salvaging what happened and making it kind of interesting. I am interested to see where it goes because I prefer Swerve as my heel, but just tell me why he's a heel now. Tell me why, not just because Brian won and Brian's the babyface. I need to know why he turned heel. Or is he going to be mad at us because we're cheering because we're saying yes, yes, yes? He didn't say that last night. He didn't address that. It didn't make sense for him to do a complete big show and just become a heel. It made no sense. And that's the only thing that's bugging me about the storyline right now. That's all I'll say about that. So, without further ado, what we had all been waiting for, stuff that does make sense. SummerSlam. I'm hyped. I told you guys, I am hyped this year. This is the first SummerSlam that I'm actually interested in watching. I have not watched a SummerSlam fully since John Cena lost a squash match to Brock Lesnar. That was probably the last SummerSlam I watched fully. Remember that one, Clutch?
That was for what it was. It was at least shocking as hell because you never expected to see John Cena like that. That match does stick with me.
It sticks with me, and that's the last SummerSlam I actually remember because I really don't remember what happened last year or the year before because it really hasn't felt to me important like it does this year, where every title's on the line. We can see every single match going one way or another. We truly just don't know in most of these matches. So I'll start with the bottom here, Chris, if you're on CBS. And Clutch, I'm going to ask you because I didn't know if this was official. Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker, is Ilya added or is it still just one-on-one? You said it was all single matches.
Yeah, it's one-on-one.
Okay. CBS has it a triple threat match. No idea why.
That's odd.
I'm on CBS and it doesn't have it as a triple threat. I don't know what you're looking at.
CBSsports.com.
What do you want? You're not looking at card predictions?
No, I'm looking at CBS.com. And 2024, it says 2024 SummerSlam card, date, matches, match, predictions, start time, rumors, location. And the big headline picture is Drew and CM Punk. All right. Anyway, not a triple threat match. Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker. Sami Zayn beat Braun.
I sent you the link in the chat. Mine has a picture of is it Damian Priest and Gunther?
Oh yeah, Damian Priest and Gunther. Yeah. Okay, this is the updated one. Thank you for that, Chris. You're so awesome. All right.
Yep.
So let's start with Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. Braun lost the first matchup at Money in the Bank. Now we have a rematch. Have things changed, Clutch? Are we feeling like Braun's going to break on through to the other side?
Oh yeah, I feel like this is you. I think they bypassed Money in the Bank, thinking you want to crown him in a bigger moment, and I think it's time to crown him. I mean, he's met and exceeded every single expectation for his main roster run so far, in my opinion, and he's only going to get better. He's pretty young. Crown him now. Let him have a nice solid run with the title, a nice dominant run. And when it's time to win the world title, crown him the world champion as well. He's that good. He's eventually gonna, I think down the road, he's WrestleMania main event.
Yeah. I cannot disagree with you there. Big time main event. I wanted him to win the Royal Rumble this year and go ahead and wrestle Gunther for the title, but I was told I was crazy. And it looks like they're not going that way. I see Braun Breaker winning here. Sami Zayn needs to break away from the IC title match and break away from Breaker, and because they need to get geared up for the Civil War that's coming up in the fall at Survivor Series. And Sami Zayn's going to be a part of that Bloodline match.
In Canada too, so it makes sense.
Yep, makes 1,000% sense.
In Canada.
Yes, and I cannot wait for this to actually unfold. But man, if you look at this card, and we'll get to it, there's so many matches where you're like, yeah, LA Knight's got to win. Yeah, this person's got to win. So I don't think every title's changing, but this one's probably my lock of the night. Braun Breaker is winning this title against Sami Zayn. Does he win clean?
Yeah.
I think so. I would have to agree with you on this. I think Sammy's had a good little run. Braun from what I've seen, Braun seems to be getting bigger and bigger ever since he kind of made his debut in NXT. They have made it clear that he was going to be a focal point of the future. And I definitely could see him dethroning Sami Zayn. And because it just feels like the next step. Like, what else is Sami going to do with it versus what could Braun do with it right now? Braun would benefit so much more winning the title right now than Sami keeping it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Let's go to the other mid-card title. We have Logan Paul as the United States champion versus LA Knight. Again, I mean, every title can't change, but it's time for LA Knight to finally hold a singles champion. It feels like if he doesn't win this one, we can officially just put the shovel on the ground. He's buried, man, because this dude will never get over the hump. Chris, as an outsider, aren't you surprised that LA Knight has not even touched gold yet?
Yeah, especially because of how over he's been lately. I feel like he's cooled off a little bit. But maybe this is a way to keep that going or kind of revive it a little bit, is to put a title on him. He seems very charismatic. So I definitely think they should pull the trigger on moving the title over to him.
Clutch, I'm interested in your thoughts on this one because I think you're a Logan Paul guy.
I am a Logan Paul guy, but I still want LA Knight to win the title because it's another. I feel like I'm going to repeat myself in a couple of these. Like, it's time for these guys to get over that hump and win championships. And yeah, you said it. LA Knight hasn't won a title in WWE unless you want to count the $1 million championship in NXT. So it's time for him to win a title. He's done everything you've asked. He's gotten over. He sold a bunch of merchandise for you. So the only thing missing for him to do in WWE is hold a championship. And I think it's time. And again, big venue, big moment. Why not? And have a good match at it. Logan Paul doesn't have bad matches. So go for it.
LA Knight doesn't put on boring matches. He doesn't do as much as a Logan Paul or even a Sami Zayn or Braun Breaker. He does minimum.
There's the crowd engagement that he brings during matches that makes it even a single punch even more exciting,
I agree. And here's where I'm going to differ. I think Logan Paul retains. Like I said, you can't change every title unless they're going to go full on AEW Dynasty where they had the hard reset where every title pretty much changed. I just can't see a world because I have other title changes coming up. I just can't see a world where every single title changes. And that's mainly my only thing here. I think Logan Paul's got to go over. I think he's got to keep it going. I think LA Knight does have to take the L, unfortunately. I hope I'm wrong. Because I'll be rooting for LA Knight. I want to see him win. I just don't see a world where they, again, change every title.
Yeah.
That's my only reason.
It's rare to see it's rare to see that, but I'm looking through this list and I'm seeing a few coming up. Again, I'm a bit of the WWE outsider of the show, but I see a few coming up where I think they could retain because that's where I started looking. I'm like, I can't pick all changes, but I think there's plenty on the card where they should retain. So
there's one. We'll talk about the next one. Yeah, we'll talk about this next match now because I changed my mind last night on this match, the WWE Women's Championship, Bayley versus Nia Jax. I had, from the moment Nia Jax won Queen of the Ring, I had her winning this title at SummerSlam. From the moment she won. And now my mind has changed. And it's because I actually had a thought. I was just laying in bed thinking, like fantasy booking, if Nia Jax wins, where does Tiffy go? What does Tiffy do? She can't tease cashing in on Nia because they're friends and they're both heels. And we just had that story with Bayley and Damage Control. We just had that. Or did we have that? Did Bayley win the? Yeah, Bayley won the Money in the Bank, right? What happened? I forgot what happened. But they were friends and somebody won the title, right?
Bayley won the Rumble.
Bayley won the Rumble. Okay, exactly. And Bayley chose EO. So we can't really have that again. It just happened. So I think Bayley has to retain here, and I'm going to give my prediction right off the bat. She's going to retain, which is going to lead to a better feud with Tiffy. and that's how I see it playing out. Am I crazy here, Clutch?
This is actually one of the matches that for me are too close to call. For me, I think it could go either way. Hell, it could even go to the way where Tiffy cashes in and wins it at SummerSlam. So I don't think it's going to go that way, but I think it could. I guess if I had to make a pick, I'd probably still go Bailey for many of the reasons that you already stated.
It's just so hard to call. This is to me. This is when I go back and forth. Now, Chris, you are the outsider, and you probably don't even know what's going on. Let me fill you in. Nia Jax won Queen of the Ring. Obviously, she's the #1 contender. Tiffy became friends with her somehow in the past month or so, and Tiffy's briefcase just got broken by Bailey 2 weeks ago. And Nia Jax said, "Don't worry, I'll get you a new one," or something like that. I forgot what happened.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're going to get the pink briefcase.
She's going to get the pink briefcase with the whole like Paris Hilton vibe or whatever, the prettiness of it.
Okay.
So there's no way she's cashing in. There ain't no way.
I'm sold that she's not anymore. I just remembered that.
Yeah, so she's going to get this thing we can all buy at www.shop.com. It's going to be on sale for a long time. People are going to want to buy it, and she's going to be parading around for months, which could lead to maybe a Bailey her match at Survivor Series or somewhere down the road. My question to you is, do you even want to see Nia Jax as champion?
Nope. That's why this is what I was talking about when I said coming up, I see some potential retain, like Nia Jax just doesn't move the needle. I'm sorry. She just doesn't. She never really has. Her career, the thing that I feel like she's most known for is when she fell on the apron on the outside and she hurt herself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? That's like all I can remember. That's her highlight. I'm sorry. She's just not real exciting. And we're talking about these other two matches. What we're talking about, real exciting characters and people that like we want to see take the next step. And like that would be the complete opposite here. Like there's just not a lot of people that are like behind her, I don't feel like. So keep it on Bailey. Bailey's always a solid choice. And that way, somewhere down the road, Tiffy can cash in on Bailey, or I don't know if they flip it to someone else, and that's when Tiffy does it. Quick thing. I'm guessing this is a SmackDown championship, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's why I know zero about this because I don't really keep up with SmackDown. I've been keeping up a little more. I've been watching some Raw every week, but I haven't watched any SmackDown because you guys have been saying it's not as good.
No, I don't want to put words in Clutch's mouth. I think Clutch likes it. I will say this for me about SmackDown. The Cody Bloodline storyline to me is the fourth best story in wrestling right now. I have the Judgment Day live. I have that storyline above it. I have MJF and Ospreay above it. I have Drew and CM Punk above it. I just don't care what Cody's doing. I do not care one sec. That's why I don't watch SmackDown. I have zero care for Cody Rhodes. And I have zero care for Solo Sikoa. I have zero care for when Roman comes back. I will be interested, but Cody's just not holding the torch for me. For me personally, we've already been down that road. Now Clutch is probably differently. Now Clutch, you probably like SmackDown a
lot. I do think Raw is the better show right now. But I do like SmackDown as well, and I am a Cody guy. I like Cody. I like that. I think the match against Solo, we're going to talk about it. I think it's going to be better than people think because I think people get lost in what Solo's done on the main roster. And I've seen his matches in NXT, and Solo can go. If you let him go, I think he can go and give you salt. He's no Jacob Fatu, but he can go. And I think people will be surprised by that because he hasn't really been put in that spot yet. He had a quote unquote title match on SmackDown, but it ended in like 5 seconds because they did a whole angle. So yeah, I think it's going to be more interesting than people think. I'm interested. I like, especially because I like the Bloodline story, and it's going to get a hell of a lot more interesting by this weekend. So
we think. But back on the women's situation, Bailey and Nia Jax, I will say this and close it out. And please disagree with me or agree with me if you want. If Nia Jax wins, let's say she wins and she's the mega heel, name me one other babyface right now that can go against her. That's ready. on SmackDown.
Bianca.
She's
Yeah.
tied up with Jade.
She is tied up with Jade. I mean, unless you have Charlotte come back.
Okay.
I don't know how close she is to come.
You know, she has been telling everybody, "I'm your queen." She said that. I mean, obviously she's queen of the ring, but she's saying, "I'm your queen" for a reason. I do think Charlotte's coming back. That could be a possibility. Nia wins, then we get Charlotte. Gosh, please do not do that. I would just never watch SmackDown ever again. Well, I don't watch it anyway.
I think Charlotte's a really good wrestler when she's not wrestling for the title.
But she's always wrestling for the title.
Yeah, that's the problem. But the few glimpses you've gotten of her non-title in just matches, and she just goes. I think she's really good.
Oh, she's great in the ring. But she's great in the ring. She's one of the best. But the drawn out drone, she's worse than Nia Jax on the mic. She really is. At least Nia has some kind of personality. Charlotte just sounds like the monotone, I am your queen. To me, it's just, I'm over it. You know, she's one of the people. I saw some pictures of Becky a couple days ago on Instagram. And I'm thinking, gosh, I don't even miss her. Like, the women's division is so much better without her. And I feel the same way with Charlotte. Because we're seeing these other women get up. Like, we would never see Liv in this high profile role if Becky was there. We would never get a chance to see that, at least in the Vince McMahon era. And it's so refreshing to see new women, whether it be Valkyria, whether it be, you know, Io Sky, whether it be Tiffy and Nia, even Nia Jax, right? Like, that's a new fresh face in the main event. I'm digging it. So that's just my 2 cents on it. I don't want to see Charlotte ever come back. Women, it's just better. Anyway, women's world championship match. This is the Raw side. Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. This is where I think we should have had the special guest referee. I think WWE botched this. But be that as may, we still have it going on. Liv retains. Now, Chris, we all know what's happening. Break it down. You don't even watch WWE that much. What's going to happen at the end of this match?
At the end of the match? Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know what's going to happen at the end of the match. Like, I don't know how to book the end on this one. You already have an idea in your head.
Everyone does. Sorry, Clutch.
I think.
You know what? I gave you a chance.
Hold on. No, I know what you're going to say. This is where you're going to say that what's his face? Dom turns on Rhea.
Mm-hmm.
That's your thing. Yeah, I remember now. That's your thing.
Easy.
So, but for this match, this was another one, completely opposite reason of the last one. But this was another match where I saw that there should be the champion should retain, because if Rhea comes back and wins, I feel like that storyline is just done. Like, it's kind of done. But it's a really good storyline. I think there's still more there. And so I think Liv needs to win this one. So they can keep extending this storyline. It's really good. I see on Raw that it sometimes, what does it get, 2 or 3 segments on an episode of Monday Night Raw, where they keep cutting backstage and checking in with them, and like, them as a group, they feel, you know, very important, if not the most important right now. And it has a lot to do with this feud. Like, I'm always looking for clips. If I don't catch it, I'm always looking online to, like, all right, what's their story up to now? Or I've got it to where I DVR Raw now, and I'll fast forward through some stuff, but I always stop anytime one of these are coming on. I want to see what's the latest going on with the storyline. So keep this one going. And I think Dom turning would definitely add the next layer to it, to make it refreshed and to where you can extend it for several more months.
Clutch. Do you agree with all that?
I think that's what's going to happen. The segment where Dom told Liv basically to F off, it was so blatant. And if you understood Spanish, it was even more blatant because he laid into her in Spanish. I found it hilarious. And it was so bad. They focused in Liv crying and Rhea licked them and all that. So it's so in your face that you just feel the 180 coming. And yeah, it extends the story. If you make Rhea win the title she never lost right away, then the last 2 title reigns, Becky and Liv's, meant nothing. It's placeholder reigns until Rhea comes back, which it still could be, but at least make a story out of it, you know? So yeah, I think that's going to happen. And I don't think it's going to be a mistake. I think Dom's blatantly going to cost Rhea, and you're going to close with a sloppy Edge and Lita kiss on the ramp to like close out the thing. That's my booking of it. And yeah, I think it's going to go that way.
Live sex show, right? Monday Night Raw, baby. Live sex show.
Just extend the storyline until they get on Netflix.
Okay.
There
Now,
you go.
now, what if? What if? Because they've been teasing somebody else in the Judgment Day for a very long time, grabbing key cards, yada, 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 Finn Balor. What if they keep Dom babyface? Finn Balor's the one. And Finn Balor welcomes in Liv, and now Rhea and Damian Priest and Dom are out because of Finn Balor. He's been the one the whole time on Liv's side, the entire time. What if? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but what if it's Dom babyface with Rhea, and no, there's no swerve, but Finn's the one who swerves. Just saying, it could happen. They've been planting seeds.
I think it's less impactful than the alternative.
Of course, yes.
And I think we're headed towards Finn and Priest at some point, and that being the focal point. So having it involve Liv and all that, I think it just muddies the whole thing.
Yes.
So it's not as clean as the other way. It could happen. I mean, like you said, the seeds are planted in a way that where they could explain that to happen. But yeah, I just much rather have it the other way.
I would much rather. Yeah, sometimes blatantly obvious isn't bad, and I think when Dom does it, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Dom doing it. I think it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be phenomenal. I can't wait.
Yeah, I like to say this because people say, "Oh, this is predictable. This is predictable." Predictable doesn't mean bad. People always equate predictable to be bad. It really doesn't. Sometimes the most obvious thing is the right call.
Yeah. It's funny. Like I agree with that statement 100%. So me and Josh on this very show, referring to some old, back when AEW was in its prime, some of their storylines, there were some of them that had a very obvious end. We knew exactly when the title was going to change or what was going to happen. And that's what we were talking about. If you're telling a really good story, an obvious ending isn't always a bad thing. It can be a really good thing.
Yeah, wrestling storylines have a beginning, middle, and end, and those beginning, middle, and end matter just as much. Or those beginning and middle matters just as much as the end. It all has to tie in together. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope we see some sloppy kisses at the end. Poor Riv, poor Liv. You know what? Poor Rhea. I mean, she's got Buddy Matthews. She's fine. Anyway.
They're all fine.
Yeah, Buddy Matthews re-signing with AEW to run away from Dom.
Dom's the only one that's like could get in trouble. Like he's just got married. He's kissing 2 women on TV. Like
think about Don. He's got a wife, and then on TV he's got a girlfriend and he's got a mistress.
Yeah, living the life. Look at him. All right, we got probably should have been the main event of the night: CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. Special guest referee Seth Rollins. This is the hardest match. This is the hardest match to predict or to think about. There's so many ways this can go. You can have Seth turn heel on Drew or whatever. You can just have Seth choose somebody, or you can have Seth choose nobody. You can have AJ Lee return and maybe be in Punk's corner because he doesn't have a bracelet, but at least his wife is there. We can have so many freaking things happen. I don't know where to go. So Clutch, tell me where to go. What are we doing here?
I know just as much as you do because this story it's so good. And this completely negates my other point about predictable is not always like bad because this is so unpredictable and it's the best thing ever. And I like the addition of Seth because it makes it even more unpredictable. You don't know what the hell's going on. Seth has beef with both of them. I think the beef is a little bit stronger with Punk. So I think that's why I'm taking Drew to win. And I think having Drew Punk lose his first one-on-one match in like 10 years is a choice, but Drew's kind of due for it because Punk has been making his life crazy like hell, costing money in the bank, doing things like that. So I guess I'll take Drew.
Punk is the real world's champion. You didn't know that?
He's still the AEW champion.
No, he's a real world's champion. That's what he called it. The real world's champion. It's still sitting in a velvet bag somewhere. I don't know where it is. But yeah, I look at this match and I go, okay, where do they want to go after the match? And that is clearly Seth and CM Punk. That's clearly the direction going forward after this match. CM Punk's not going to be a heel. He's not. Sorry, he's not. Seth has been babyface for way too long. But I don't see Seth wanting or to help Drew win. So this is going to be the hard part. How does Seth screw over CM Punk, but not make it look so obvious and have it be an accident? That's going to have to be it. I don't see any other way. Like, I really don't. Or maybe they go super obvious. CM Punk is covered him. He put him go to sleep. 1, 2. Seth does no. Boom, curb stop. And then you just lay Drew McIntyre unconscious over CM Punk and counts 1, 2, 3. So Drew doesn't get the satisfaction of getting his win, knowing it, and CM Punk is screwed by Seth Rollins. So it's a lose-lose, and Seth Rollins comes out as a winner. I don't know. I'm just really, really excited. I hope Punk stays healthy. I hope he doesn't get hurt, because 3 matches in a row, the dude's been hurt 3 times in a row. I just hope the match doesn't suck, because it doesn't deserve a bad match, because this is probably the best story they've told in over 2 years. I think this is one of the best, because you know what? They're both heels and they're both baby faces. And you don't get that in-depth storytelling. Usually it's like, you know, in all wrestling. Oh, I don't like you because you're bad. Well, I'm good and I'm going to hustle and respect, baby. This is one where they're both bad people, but they also have good intentions as well. So I'm excited for this match. Yeah, I can't believe Chris is worried about some rain.
I am. Listen, I'm only worried if it arcs, if it turns into us. You know, I'm glad to hear, because I was looking at this one thinking everything you guys just said, and I was looking at it like I don't know. Maybe I just haven't watched enough of this one to understand where the story goes on this one and who's supposed to come out on top. But it sounds like you guys are right there the same. I feel like with Seth Rollins being there, I don't know. I wouldn't really even rule out some sort of like finish where we don't even really get a winner. What if something like that happens? Because I thought maybe they would lead to a triple threat at some point somewhere down the road. And so is there a way for him to kind of screw them both over simultaneously? Like he just starts beating them both up and then there just is no resolution to the match? Like, how does that get scored if a special guest referee interferes with the match? Like, who wins and loses? I don't know. I feel like this thing could go any different direction. It seems like, you know, you could make a case for Punk wins because he's always screwing over Drew and that keeps that pursuit going. But also at some point, Drew's got to get a win back at this point. He's got to be able to outsmart Punk once. So just like Clutch was saying, this one's completely unpredictable and it's a really good thing that it's that way.
You know what makes it harder is Drew still has that bracelet. In somewhere, some way, somehow, CM Punk needs to take that bracelet back. So I just don't see, right, Clutch? Like, how does he obtain that bracelet back if he's flat on his back getting pinned 1, 2, 3?
We're finally going to get Larry interference.
I can't wait. Is he going to bite someone?
Yeah.
We see Kenny Omega running. I got you, buddy. Saving you. I'm excited. That's all I can say. I can't wait to see what happens. Hopefully it extends into Bash in the Berlin of the Bashers.
Selfishly, I hope so.
Yes. Yeah, for you, because you're going to be there. One thing you're going to see a brand new world championship, world heavyweight champion in Bash in Berlin. Gunther versus Damian Priest, the Raw champion, the world heavyweight champion, Big Gold, or their version of it. Gunther can't lose. Like it's done for Damian Priest. He did his job. He was a good champion, not great, kind of like a Swerve, just like Swerve right now. Like, it wasn't great, wasn't bad. You didn't really mess anything up. You didn't steal any shows. You did your job. Gunther's taking this title. I don't see any other way. I don't see any other way.
No.
I mean,
I definitely agree. It's definitely got to be his time. It's been building for a long time, and this is another one where it's good to change hands. It's just another person that feels right, like what we said with the earlier two.
I can definitely see Cody not wrestling at Bash. I could definitely see him wrestling at Bash, but I could see Gunther main eventing Berlin, going in there as your champion. And that's more of people are like, oh, he's got to win it there. No, I think it's more of an impact if he arrives and he wrestles as champion. He's bringing the championship home as the ring general. I don't know who his opponent's going to be, but I'm super excited. Who do you think is opponent? Who are they advertising over there?
They haven't really advertised people. It's just the original poster, which still had Bobby Lashley on it. So,
oh man.
So right now, I know as much as you guys.
Do you want to see Gunther bring it home, or do you want to see him win it at home?
I'll say this because I think it's really unfortunate for Damian Priest, because I really do think he's just now starting to hit his stride as champion. And I think it has been much, much better recently. His promos have been really much better, and everything's just been better. But it's just, you have a dominant guy like Gunther. He's won every step of the way. Whenever he hasn't had a title, he's won King of the Ring. So he just seems like a guy that always has an accolade on him. And I don't know. Before this show, and yesterday I was like, you know what? Maybe Priest wins. Maybe not in the cleanest of fashion, but he wins. And this extends to Berlin. And Gunther gets the match at Berlin. Selfishly, wouldn't mind. But for the moment and for the logic of what Gunther is as a character, as a wrestler, it makes sense for him to win it right away at SummerSlam and, as you said, walk into Berlin as champion. So I don't know. I honestly don't know how they're going to do it. Oh, now that you mentioned advertising, they did advertise one dark match for after SmackDown. Maybe it's something that leads to what it could be, but I think they're advertising Gunther and Kaiser versus Sammy and Ilya.
Okay.
I don't think Ilya is strong enough to challenge for the world title at Berlin, but and at first I thought it could be an indicator. I'm not so sure, but yeah, just a comment.
Sammy could be strong enough to wrestle at Berlin. Like, we don't have a babyface lineup for Gunther.
I mean, yeah, if he loses, Sammy loses to Braun, faces off against Gunther as champ. When Gunther's champion, I took the IC title away from you. I can take the world title away from you. Something like that. It could work.
Yeah, it could work. I mean, I don't think it will. I think they need because Gunther's going to win there too. Do you want to have Sami Zayn lose 2 matches in a row, especially when he's about to get into a bloodline feud?
Yeah. Plus, they already started the whole Sammy's teaming with Jay, and that's going to tie into, I think, the bloodline story at some point. But so I don't see how possible that is. Honestly, the thing I'm trying to think of to keep me away from saying Priest is going to win rematch in Berlin is, who does Gunther face in Berlin?
Yeah, it's the tough
That's
one.
the thing keeping me from saying, okay, definitely Gunther's winning at SummerSlam.
Priest if you do Priest in a rematch, that's kind of lame, in my opinion, especially if Finn Balor's the one. Because my prediction is I think Priest and Rhea lose, and I think on Monday night we see Finn Balor and the Judgment Day kick them both out. I think it happens as early as Monday night, just because when Priest was talking about, I don't need your help because you're not a champion. Well, now Finn Balor can say, we don't need your help because you're not a champion. So that would lead Priest to Finn Balor, so it couldn't be a rematch. Is it Ilya? I don't think so. Ilya's not built up enough.
No.
Is it Chad Gable? No, because he's probably going to go wrestle the 6.
By the way, I still that's the only thing I'll criticize. I think they should have been wrestling at SummerSlam.
The 6? I think so
Yeah.
too. I think so too. I think, but I think it should have been the singles. See, they didn't have enough time to build it. I think they flopped that because it should have been Gable versus Bo at SummerSlam. That's what it
Yeah.
should have been.
I did like the segment on Raw though. I don't know if you caught it.
I did.
Where
Yeah.
they finally unmasked. It was cool.
Unmasked. Yeah, and she Nikki Cross from the top. And yeah, it was good. And they're gonna have their first match on Raw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're having their first match on Raw, unmasked. Pretty cool. All right, last match of the night. I got a spoiler for you guys. Actually, it's not a predict. Yeah, it's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. I'll tell you at the very end. We have Cody Rhodes, champion, versus Solo Sikoa, the new tribal chief, according to him. Cody wins. Cody retains. Now, Clutch, how do we get Roman back on SummerSlam?
Cody retains. They immediately jump Cody. But not to a point where Roman saves Cody. More like they immediately jump Cody. Cody's laid out on the side, and you have Solo and the crew raising up the ones. And I don't know if you just get the music or if you get the ladies and gentlemen from Paul Heyman. I don't know if he's gonna come back with Roman or maybe later on. I don't know how it's gonna happen. I'm so sure it's going to happen, but I don't know how. But I basically that beat Cody to the side, raise the ones, boom, Roman. And to go further a little bit, I think Roman's going to show up on the following SmackDown and get his ass beat. And that's going to be his excuse for not being there for a couple more weeks.
All right, Chris. You got Cody winning.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is another retain. Remember we were talking about some winning, some retaining. There you go. This would give us 3 retain and 3 changes.
But does Roman return? Does Roman return?
I haven't been following this as much to know the right spot to bring him back because I haven't followed SmackDown at all, not even in the slightest.
Okay.
So you enlighten me.
I'm not going to enlighten anyone. This is just my. Actually, this is a spoiler. Roman's not coming back. We're not seeing Roman. We're not. There's no reason to. There's no logical way to bring Roman back if Cody wins. Now, if Solo wins, again, I still don't see a logical way because there's no real beef there yet. In our eyes, Roman's away. In our eyes, Roman has no idea what's happening. And Solo's a tribal chief, and he's being led by The Rock.
You've missed a couple of things, I think, on SmackDown.
Okay, and let me know. I know he said Roman's not coming back, right? He said that Roman ain't coming back. He beat up Paul Heyman, right?
Well, first of all, I think we're glossing over that a little bit too lightly. Heyman is his Roman's guy, out of all guys. It'd be like them beating up his own blood. But other than that, after that, there was a promo, one of those backstage promos where the mood lighting and things like that, where he was like, "I'm the tribal chief. If Roman wants it, he can come take it from me."
Oh, so I didn't see that.
Yeah. So he said that. That's why I'm saying I think you missed that bit.
Okay.
And that's why I am fairly certain this is happening.
Okay. So nothing's changed in my eyes. I don't think we see Roman, and if we do see Roman, that's cool. I'm here for it. I think we need Roman. I said it earlier on the show. SmackDown's boring to me. We need Roman, but it doesn't make sense to me, and I'll explain why. And I'll keep it short. Cody wins, and he's getting beat down. How lame is it for Cody to get not saved, but technically saved by Roman? Roman doesn't care about Cody. Roman doesn't care. Now, would he care that Solo won the title? I don't know. I think the better way or lost the title. If he lost the title, Roman can just, you're nobody, bro. What's Roman's whole gimmick been for the past 3 years? He just laughs at people. This guy thinks, right? That's his whole gimmick. Why would he even feel threatened of Solo? He won't even roll out of bed for Solo. He is not going to get up for Solo. we're getting the tribal. We're getting the final boss. We're getting Rock.
SummerSlam?
We're getting Rock. Because we need to see Rock and Cody before we see Roman. We need it. Roman's coming because what's going to happen is, and this is just my thoughts and my opinions alone. Solo's been saying, I'm acting on the tribal chief for so long. And we assumed it wasn't Roman. We assumed it was Rock. And then Solo's got crazy. Solo's gone power hungry. He's now calling himself the tribal chief and yada, yada, yada. This tells me he's even going over the Rock's head, who we assumed was his boss. He's acting on the tribal chief, which in our eyes we thought was the Rock, or my eyes. He loses. Okay, the Rock is now upset. You can't do this shit on your own. You can't do the one thing I told you to do, so I got to come do it. And then we see a Rock face to face with Cody at the very end of SummerSlam. I think the Rock comes back because Roman's not coming back for Solo. He's coming back for Rock. That's the story. That's the whole Civil War. That's everything. That's the story. It's not Solo and Roman. It's never going to be Solo and Roman. It's going to be Rock and Roman. I think we have to have Rock come back before we have Roman come back. That's just the way I see it shaping out. I think people are expecting Roman. They want Roman. I want Roman. But if you have a baby face win the main event, you're not going to have the top heel the last time you saw him come back and, oh, yeah, we're cool now or whatever. We're going to have that confrontation between The Rock and Cody. And the last time we saw anyone, we didn't see Roman. We saw Rock last. And we saw Rock say, I want to win that title. Give me that title. I want to hold it. I never won that title before. That match has to happen before Roman. All of it. And I think it's going to happen. So I might be wrong. But I think we're going to get a huge swerve. People are expecting Roman. And we're getting Rock.
The one thing that adds something to your take here is I saw a report like 2 days ago that Rock finished filming like a few weeks ago. So technically he's clear. So maybe, but I still don't think so. Yeah, I think there's going to be a creative way to make it make sense.
I'm the only person, by the way, that's calling The Rock. I don't see anyone else doing it. Chris, I want to make sure you know before it happens because you still don't believe my Seth Rollins prediction.
Because it didn't happen.
It happened. But hey, if you guys are all still watching, what do you think is going to happen at SummerSlam? I'll tell you what, Bobby, if you're watching Bobby, see this? He thinks Solo's going to win the title. Bobby thinks Solo's going to win the title. That's where I draw craziness. All right, Bobby, calm down.
No, Solo as your world champion, that would be bad. That's not what's best for business.
It's not even about Solo to me. Cody's just not going to lose the title because you have the Rock thing set up. It doesn't make sense without a title. You know how we talked about like feuds not needing titles for things? This one needs the title.
Yeah.
It's The Rock doing something that Roman couldn't.
Yes.
That would be the story in that case. And yeah. Yeah, I don't see Solo. Sorry, Bobby, but no.
Yeah, I don't see Solo winning either. The only way this could possibly happen is if we were all on Jupiter and we're all high on shrooms and we're in some alternate Rick and Morty universe because this ain't happening. Anyway, make sure you guys check in next week. We'll be back breaking down SummerSlam. Make sure you watch No Hold Barred. Cheap plug. Sunday night we'll be live after. It's going to be a long night. I'm going to be live right after SummerSlam, breaking down The Rock's appearance, breaking down the electrical one, the People's Champion, the final boss, as he confronts Cody at the very end of SummerSlam as it fades to black. Any last words?
Think about it. The Rock, there's a pay-per-view coming up in Cody's hometown that they're bringing back after like 20 years. Bad Blood, right?
Bad Blood, yeah.
Yep.
And Cody said he was going to make The Rock bleed the next time he saw him. No?
That's what he said.
Yeah. So, I mean, it makes sense if you want to go that direction.
Dude, Bad Blood's going to be a banger.
It is. It's going to be a Hell in a Cell match. I don't know who's going to be in it, but
Drew and Punk. Or CM Punk and Seth. It's going to be a banger regardless. Hell, maybe we get all three of them in the Hell in a Cell.
Maybe. It's going to be really good.
God, WWE is heating up. And you know what? I'm here for it. I am so happy wrestling's back. Let's go, baby. Any last words before we leave? Chris, this is for you to say.
Oh, okay, this is for me.
Oh, stay safe during the storm, guys.
No, my parting message is to Clutch is when you go to your whenever you get to go to your pay-per-view, just let us know what color your Real Talk Wrestling sign is going to be so we can keep an eye out for you.
Oh,
Yes.
of course, I got you guys.
Make sure you're the guy that walks across the lower end with his sign.